a winter meeting house, a crowded room, and a child's cry. Why, there she stands. In Salem Village, fear seemed to take a visible shape. In early 1692, Massachusetts Bay was a tightly knit Puritan colony that treated witchcraft as a capital crime. The minister in Salem Village, Samuel Parris, presided over a household where his 9-year-old daughter, Betty, and his 11-year-old niece, Abigail Williams, convulsed, babbled, and claimed unseen torment. New Englanders already knew such stories. In 1688, Boston's Goodwin children had seized and screamed until a neighbor was hanged for witchcraft. The ground was primed for panic. By late January 1692, Salem's physician declared the girls bewitched. On February 29th, arrest warrants named 3 outsiders: Tituba, an enslaved indigenous woman in the Paris home; Sarah Good, a destitute beggar; and Sarah Osborne, elderly and infirm. Examined on March 1st by magistrates John Hathorne and Jonathan Corwin, Tituba, pressed by questioning, confessed that "the devil came to me and bid me serve him," and told of other witches abroad. Good and Osborne denied guilt, but the admission widened suspicion. Accusations multiplied through March and April, led chiefly by adolescent girls: Ann Putnam Jr., Mercy Lewis, Mary Walcott, Elizabeth Hubbard, and others. Esteemed church members were soon named. 71-year-old Rebecca Nurse was jailed after witnesses swore her specter attacked them. With overcrowded jails and examinations cascading, Governor William Phips created a special court of Oyer and Terminer on May 27th. That court accepted spectral evidence, the claim that a person's spirit could harm victims even when the accused stood elsewhere. On June 10th, Bridget Bishop was hanged, the first execution. On July 19th, 5 more died, including Nurse and Good. At the gallows, Good retorted to a minister, "I am no more a witch than you are a wizard." On August 19th, 5 were hanged again, among them former Minister George Burroughs, who startled the crowd by flawlessly reciting the Lord's Prayer, a thing witches were said to be unable to do. Cotton Mather reminded onlookers that the devil has often been transformed into an angel of light, and the hangings proceeded. On September 19th, 81-year-old Giles Corey, refusing to plead, was pressed with stones. Legend holds he demanded more weight. On September 22nd, 8 more were hanged. In scarcely 3 months, 19 people died by rope and 1 under stones. At least 5 others perished in jail. Doubt grew from the edges inward. The accused included respected neighbors. The afflicted collapsed dramatically in court, and the use of visions as proof strained credulity. In October, Increase Mather warned, "It were better that 10 suspected witches should escape than that 1 innocent person should be condemned." On October 29th, Phips dissolved the court and halted new arrests. A new superior court met in early 1693. It refused spectral evidence. Without it, most cases collapsed. Of dozens of indictments heard from January to May, only a handful brought convictions. Sentences were reprieved, and the remaining prisoners were freed by late spring. Across the episode, more than 200 had been accused, but the legal tide had turned. What caused the afflictions remained disputed. A 1976 proposal blamed ergot poisoned rye. Medical historians and local scholars have since rejected that idea as inconsistent with who fell ill and how the outbreak spread and stopped. Many historians instead see a psychogenic epidemic, real symptoms rooted in fear, grief, and trauma. Some girls had fled frontier violence, amplified by suggestion. Others note hints of mischief. Contemporaries recorded an afflicted girl admitting she had feigned a vision for sport. Social tensions also mattered. Long-standing village feuds and ministerial disputes shaped who was believed and who was blamed. The evidence does not yield a single cause. Repentance followed. In January of 1697, Massachusetts declared a fast to atone for the errors of the trials. Judge Samuel Sewall stood in church and publicly confessed his guilt. Jurors signed statements of regret. In 1702, the colony declared the trials unlawful. In 1711, it restored many names and paid compensation. In 1706, Ann Putnam, Jr., now 27, confessed that it was a great delusion of Satan that deceived me, the sole accuser to apologize publicly. Yet not all were cleared. It was not until 2001, and formalized again in 2022, that the last condemned name, Elizabeth Johnson, Jr., was fully exonerated. The legal lessons endured. New England courts repudiated spectral testimony. Coerced confessions and invisible harms no longer sufficed to take a life. Politically, witch hunt became a byword for reckless accusation, invoked in the Red Scare of the 1950s and beyond. The stones and ropes of 1692 left an afterimage on American ideas about due process and reasonable doubt. The meeting house fell silent, but the warning remained. Salem began with a cry and ended with an apology. Between them, a community learned how fear, given legal force, can turn neighbors into executioners, and how courage, even belated, can begin to repair the harm. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness, because yesterday was crazy too.